All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of the Morning Market Review. Right, please, I'd like everybody to mute themselves. Also, please turn off your video cam so that you don't distract the rest of the class. Please. All right. So, I think we have quite a few number of persons here. Let's just give it about an extra 5 minutes for others to join in, and we proceed. We have just 25 persons here. I'm expecting quite a good number. So let's just wait extra 5 minutes for others to join in, and we'll kick off from there. Okay, I think we have quite a number of persons in the class already, so let's just proceed. First thing we do as a trader, of course, is to check our forex factory to determine the fundamentals coming up for the day, and based on that, we could now decide what trades we'll be looking into. It's always very important that you check fundamentals coming out for the day, because that, to a large extent, will influence the direction at which the market will be moving, and also what instruments will be most volatile that day. And of course, as a trader, you should be hunting for volatility. That should be your major goal. Hunting for charts where you have major volatility, so you could take quick trades, and you're out of the market with profit as soon as possible. Right. So for today, being the 25th of January, today being Thursday, we have quite a number of news. Already I do my selection for my high and medium impact news. I pay little attention to medium impact news, and of course, your non-economic calendar. I really don't pay attention to that. So what I does look for is high impact news and medium impact news. So for today, we have quite a couple of them. We have by 10 a.m. we have German Info Business Climates coming out by 10 a.m. Right, 10 a.m. That's almost upon us. Then please turn off your video cam. Please turn off your video cam so you don't distract the class. As you're joining in, please turn off your video cam. Right. So we by 2:15 we have main refinancing rate. We have a monetary policy statement. By 2:30 we have advanced GDP, or that's on the USD zone. So the one we have by 10 and 2:15 is on the Eurozone. Of course, we should be expecting more volatilities on Euro pairs, and most likely DE30. Right. So we have by 2:30, we have most news coming out on the USD zone. That's roughly around how many? Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's roughly around 5 news, 2 of it being high impact news and 3 of it being medium impact news. So we have unemployment claims coming out today. We have advanced GDP price index coming out today. We have core durable goods orders coming out today. We have durable goods orders also coming out today. Then by 2:45, we have another news coming out on the Eurozone. So it will be ECB the ECB press conference, and that's going to be more of a speech, a statement, more of a meeting, right? So you could see that that doesn't carry any figure here. There is no actual, there is no forecast. So for that, we would need to also follow clues on what the conference will be talking about, and then interpret it in such a way that we are able to decipher how it's going to affect the Eurozone, right? So by 4 p.m., we'll be rounding it off with the USD new home sales, right? The USD new home sales. So that will be by 4 p.m. And that's the major fundamentals we have for the day. So let's take a peep at currency strength meter. Right, let's take a peep at currency strength meter. So currently we have the AUD as the strongest pair of the bunch. We have NZD following close by. The Eurozone, the Euro also has good strength, and of course, since we have a couple of news coming out on the Eurozone also, that strength is expected, right? Because whenever there is fundamentals like that, there's usually sentiment before the actual news comes out, and most times sentiment is always positive towards the outlook of what the news is going to bring forth. So people are expecting a positive this thing. So they're expecting that policies that will be made, or maybe data's coming out, would actually be positive. And that's why most times before the news, you get those positive sentiment. And that's a particular currency where you're expecting high impact news or medium impact news would have that little bit of strength, right? After the Eurozone, we have the USD following close by. We have, okay, so this is a live, this is in real time, right? Currency strength meter, this is in real time. So there is expected that you get the currencies change over time, just according to how the strength in the market actually reflects. So it changes in real time. So we have JPY as the weakest of the bonds. The JPY zone has not been doing so well, right? They are because JPY as a whole is a manufacturing economy, and so far most of their major manufacturing firms are not back to 100% producing capacity at the moment. So their economy has a little bit of slack. So we should expect that JPY should still be a little weak compared to other currency for the main time, right? So that being said, let's take a peep at the charts. First, we'll be treating the dollar index. If you're able to cover up the dollar index, you should have a good interpretation of what the dollar is saying and how most of the stocks would actually go. So dollar index yesterday, we had more of a downward move yesterday from the early hours of yesterday up until midday. And then from then we had a little push up on the dollar index. We had a little push up on the dollar index, closing price at around this point here. Right? If you're looking at it on a daily time frame, you could see that the last candle actually closed bearish, and this is also continuing on a bearish note, right? So, and that actually happened somewhat around this point here, where price was actually resisted before. So you could see price was resisted here. It's close to a resistance at this point, and currently you're seeing that resistance actually play out here. So if you're looking at it technically, right? If you're looking at it technically and you're looking at taking a long-term trade on this particular instrument, definitely you could go in for a long-term sell. Right, looking at it, my stochastic is also supporting a sell, being that it's bouncing off my overbought region, because price on dollar index has actually been buying for quite a while, right? So you could see this upward move for quite a while. So you could go in for a long-term sell on the dollar index, ensuring you put your stop loss at the next before the after the resistance here. So what I'd intend to do is to put my stop loss somewhere around there, right? Having my sell, you could go in, because if you check the candlestick formation here, you can see that you have oh, sorry, hold on. Okay, my chart is moving around quite a lot. Let me stop that. Okay, so you could see that at this point here, you have quite a number of rejection around there. So definitely you should expect that if today's candle closes bearish, definitely you should expect a continuous fall in price. Right, for those that want to take a long-term trade, you should consider selling off the dollar index you should consider selling off the dollar index at least up until this support points, at least up until the support point. But for today, right? If I'm going to be looking at the market on a shorter time frame for intraday traders, I'd want to go in for my trade based on the current market structure on a 1 hour time frame. So I'll be doing this analysis on a 1 hour time frame. So looking at it also here, you have price being rejected at this resistance point here. Don't forget we have a couple of high impact news coming out on the USD zone, right? We have a couple of high impact news coming out on the USD zone. So most likely we still expect that the dollar should gain strength, but that will be dependent on what the effect of the news comes out as. So if it comes out positive, of course, we should expect that dollar index should continue to push up. But if it comes out negative, then the dollar index might continue to push down. So technically, I'm going to be looking at the chart, just looking at what price is just doing at the chart. So looking at it here, we have a couple of rejection at around there, and there are special candlesticks here. We have your spinning top with your bearish confirmation candle. For those that are familiar with candlestick formation, right? So this is your spinning top here with your bearish confirmation candle. Most times, whenever you see this indication, is a clear indication for a sell trade. But being that we have high impact news coming up, I wouldn't stay in that on that sell trade for a very long time. So you might want to go in for an instant sell, take your profit somewhere before the support at around here. So if you're going in for an instant sell, my preference is actually a sell. You can see my stochastic here is actually pushed down towards my oversold region, right? But there's still ample opportunity for you to keep going down, right? At least settle fully. Right, you could see the green one here as my green moving my average on my stochastic has touched my 20 period my 20 stochastic level, but I still expect that this one should actually still come down to make a crossing before you could get a buy at this point. So and the next support from here is quite far, so there's opportunity for you to still go in for an instant sell from here down to price level 10288, 102,888, right? So my preference for USD IDX is going to be a sell. You could do an instant sell. Of course, have your stop loss above my resistance point here. So I would have my stop loss at price level 103.216. So an instant sell will be in order. Like I said, it's going to be a short trade. I wouldn't advise to stay on that trade for a very long time since we have news coming out on the USD zone. But that will be later in the day, somewhat around 2. But for this morning, technically we should expect that price should push down to the support point, right? So that's it for USD IDX. That's it for USD IDX. So let's go to GBP USD. Let's go to GBP USD. So for GBP USD, of course, we don't have any high impact news coming out on the GBP zone. Most of the news we have is on USD and Euro. So I'd be expecting that the news should actually go in favor of the dollar. But like I said, that news will be coming out later in the day. So for this morning, most likely you'll be expecting the price to move technically, depending on when the news come out. You should be expecting more of a technical movement on the chart before the news comes out by 2 o'clock. And clearly you could see here from the chart, you can see that price has actually formed quite an interesting candle here. You have your looking at it here, you have your this is your what they call that candle again. We have Gravestone Doji and yes, this is your butterfly doji. So your butterfly doji looks somewhat like a T, though it's not a perfect butterfly doji, but it looks somewhat like a T, right? With your bullish confirmation candle, right? So for those that are still wondering what are dojis, what are bullish engulfing and all of that, that's the more reason why you need to attend most of these trainings where we highlight candlestick formations and all of that, right? So if you have a good understanding of candlestick formation and candlestick pattern, to a large extent, you'll be able to read the chart and determine what entries to take and at what point you should take those entries. So we have my butterfly doji with my bullish confirmation candle, which is always a good indication for a buy, right? But the challenge here now is, if I'm going to be taking this buy trade, if you look back at the 22nd of January, there was a resistance around here. Let me point that out. So if you look back at the 22nd of January, there was a resistance somewhat around here. So there's every possibility that price might be rejected from here, right? There's every possibility that price might be rejected from here. So what I'd want to do is to go in for a buy. If price is now able to break above that resistance, right? So I'd want to go in for a buy if price is now able to break above that resistance. So that would be, so my buy entry will be somewhat around here. Let me give you this different color. So my buy entry will be somewhat around here at a price level 1.27352. 1.27352. So I'll be going for my buy entry at around that point, take my profit above here. Looking at it here, though we have a resistance here, but it's a weak resistance because price only tested there once. There wasn't any multiple testing around that point. So the next place where we have multiple testing was somewhere around here, right? So I'd want to go in for my take profit at around price level before that resistance. So that will be at price level 1.27607. 1.27607. So like I said, my preference actually is going to be a buy based on my candlestick formation here. I have my somewhat of a butterfly doji with my bullish confirmation candle, but what I have here is a resistance close to where price currently is. So for you to be on the safe side, it would be wise for you to enter a buy if price is now completely able to break above that resistance point and take your profit at the next resistance, right? So alternatively for a sell, right? I said my preference is a buy, right? But alternatively for a sell, if I'm going to be going in for a sell, it should be below my support. So I'd put a pending sell stop at a price level 1.26968. 1.26968. I put my pending sell stop around there, 1.26968. Take my profit at before like it was here. You have a support point here, but it's a weak support because price only tested here once. So you could see this V shape kind of price came here, rejected and went back up. So this is a weak support. There is no other point in recent time that price has actually tested that point again. So the next reasonable support to be the next place where price tested multiple times, which is somewhere around here, and that will give me good pip entry or good pip value. Right. So I have my take profit at price level 1.26711. 1.26711. So if you're looking at how much you'll be getting, so for my buy, which is actually my preference, I should be making roughly around 25 pip, right? 25 pip on an instrument like GBP USD on a standard lot. So you're looking at roughly around 1,000, no, is it 16,000 thereabout? Or 16,000 thereabout. So if you multiply that by 24, you should get a good amount of money. That's if you're using a standard lot. If you're using a standard lot, multiply that by 24, you should get a good amount of money. Right. But if you have good volume in your accounts, of course, you could use a better lot size than that, right? Then for my sell, I should also roughly around 25 points too, right? So for USD IDX is actually much more profitable than GBP USD and the likes of Euro USD, right? So this if you are going in at an instant sell on USD IDX, like I said, you should be getting roughly around 13 pips down to your take profit. Roughly around 13 pips down to your take profit, right? So that's it for it. For Euro USD, note that we have news coming out on the USD zone and also on the Euro zone. Most times I don't like taking trades on an instrument that has both currencies having high impact news around on the same day. But if you're looking at it, if you look at it closely, we have the Euro news coming out this morning, and then we have the USD news coming out later in the day. That's around 2. So there's every possibility that the news from the Eurozone will take effect first before the news on the USD zone. So it's also, we could actually consider that and still take a trade on Euro USD. So for Euro USD, looking at it technically, if you're looking at Euro USD technically, you could see that at this point here, price was actually rejected at this support somewhat around here. Price was rejected at this support somewhat around here, and is actually pushing up. So though price has gone, is heading towards my overbought region on my stochastic, but I still feel because of the news coming out on the Eurozone, I still feel there should still be room for price to still continue pushing upward, right? And the fact that price is currently sitting on the resistance point. So even if at all I'm going to be considering a buy based on the fact that we have news coming out on the euro this morning, I'd be going in for a buy if price is now able to break above this resistance point. Right, if price is able to break above this resistance point, I'm doing this analysis on a 1 hour time frame in case you're wondering. Right, so let's see. Let's look at it on a 30-minute time frame to see. Yeah, so you could see on a 30 minutes time frame, price is currently being rejected at this resistance point. So it's very clear here on a 30 minutes time frame. Going back to a 1 hour time frame, you could also see that rejection around there. So if I thought I'm going to be going in for a buy, yes, I'd go in for a buy if price breaks above that point, right? So I'll go in for my buy at I'll go in for my buy at price level 1.08957, 1.08957. I'm going for my buy around that point, 1.0895 957, 1.08957. I'm going for my buy at around that point. Reason being that I want price to completely break above this resistance, trigger my entry. So if price is able to completely break above this resistance, then definitely I know that buy is going to be in play. But if price doesn't break this resistance, sometimes you have what we call a fake out, right? We have what we call a fake out where, okay, somewhat like this now, where price actually came below this support zone, but it wasn't sustained. So if my entry was very close to this support, definitely it would have triggered my entry. And then for the fact that price started going up, I would have been in loss. So I want to give my support good amount of space or good amount of gap to ensure that if price breaks that support or that resistance rather, if price breaks the resistance, I am on a clear, so I don't get caught in a fake out. So I'm going for my buy at price level 1.08957 and then take my profit at the top here. So before this resistance at the top, we have another resistance at the bottom here. So this is actually going to be a very short trade because you could see that from my entry point down to where I have my next resistance, it's quite a few number of pips. So from here to here is roughly around 9 pips. From here to here is roughly around 9 pips. For an instrument like Euro USD, where you make roughly around $10 per lot. So on Euro USD, you make roughly around $10 per lot. That's roughly around 10,000. Roughly around 10,600 or thereabout per lot. Right. So that wouldn't really make a whole lot of sense. So if I'm doing 10,600 per lot, multiplied by the number of lots, the number of pips here, that is roughly around 9 points. So that's roughly around 90 something thousand. It's still fair. It's still a fair trade if you're using a standard lot on Euro USD, right? But if you have good amount of money, you could double that and make roughly around 140,000 naira. So if you're using 2 standard lots, at least that should make you roughly around 140,000 naira per for this trade. My preference is still going to be a buy, looking at the fact that we have news on the Eurozone. But should the news on the Eurozone come out negative, because it's also a data news, should it come out negative, of course, you'd want to consider a sell if price now falls below this support zone, because you have your support here where price actually bounced up. So if price falls below the support zone, then I'd consider a sell. Of course, don't forget about giving it a good gap from your support to ensure you don't get caught in a fake out. So I'm going for a sell below my support and going for that seller price level 1.08617, 1.08617. 1.08617. I'm going for a sell at around that point and then take my profits before the next support. So before this support here, we have this support at around this point here. So this would be a good take profit point. So from my entry down to where I have my take profits, that's roughly around 13 pips. That's roughly around 13 pips. Well, notice that this is at the tip of the support. So I want to adjust this a little bit to ensure that price hits my take profit before hitting the support to be sure that my trade actually closes out by itself. So that will reduce the number of pip to also around 95 points, which is around 9 pip. So with a standard lot, you should still be making roughly around 90,000 naira, which is still a fair trade, right? You should be making roughly around 90,000 naira, which is still a fair trade using a very good lot size. So it wouldn't make sense if you're going to be putting pending orders and then you're going to be using very, very little lot size, right? But in as much as you want to use good lot size and make good money, also ensure that you are using lot size proportional to your account. So let's take, for example, I have a 50,000 naira account. I could still do mini lot size or micro lot size where they maybe within the range of 0.01 to 0.05, right? Depending. But if of course I have roughly a million naira, I don't have any business using a 0.01 or maybe a 0.10, right? It doesn't really make sense because this is currency. And of course, you want to milk the best opportunity that you can, right? So like I said, if you have good lot size, use better lot size to make better profits since it's just a very, very short trade, right? So the next instrument we'll be looking at is USD JPY. USD JPY. So for USD JPY, of course, you could tell that the JPY has actually been weak. Hence, the major push up on the USD JPY chart. But for this morning, we're expecting that for this morning, we are expecting that the USD should actually gain a little bit of should continue gaining strength rather. The USD should continue gaining strength based on when the news comes out, right? Fundamentals. But the news is actually going to become now by 2:30, like I stated earlier. So everything I'm actually going to be doing this morning, except on the Eurozone, everything on the USD zone is mostly going to be based on technical analysis. So that being said, technically on a 1 hour time frame, you could see your candlestick formation here. We have a bullish engulfing, a bearish engulfing rather. We have a bearish engulfing here. Let me zoom that in so you could see that a little closer. So a bearish engulfing here where you have your bearish candle totally covering the previous bullish candle. And aside that, you have your spinning top, right? This is also a special candlestick, your doji at your resistance point. All these are indications actually for a sell. And if you're looking at your stochastic also, your stochastic has also given a cross around your overbought region, uh, also giving another indication that price might actually continue to sell. So it's a good opportunity for you to go in for an instant sell. You could go in for an instant sell. Like I said, instant sell is going to be a short trade since we are expecting more volatility on the USD later in the day. So you could go in for a sell. Normally my profit target is at 147.079. 147.079. That's my profit target. But like since we have news coming out, you need to be watchful of this trade. So if you're taking that instance sell, ensure you have your stop loss at the before the resistance or after the resistance points rather, after the resistance point. So I'd want to put my stop loss. I'd want to put my stop loss at price level 148.022. I put my stop loss at 148.022. I have my stop loss around that point, and then I can go in for an instant sell this morning, depending on when the news now comes out. So technically, my preference is a sell. My preference is a sell up until 147.079, 147.079. So that's it for USD JPY. For USD JPY, let's consider USD CHF and also USD CAD. Okay, so for USD CHF, please give me a moment. Let me empty this chart. I think I'll just go ahead and reopen another USD CHF chart. USD CHF. Okay, so for my USD CHF, for USD CHF, I think we also still have the same pattern on USD CHF, right? Where we have you have your doji with your bearish confirmation candle for a sell, right? Same thing will be in play here. Technically, I'm also looking out for a sell, right? Price being rejected from this resistance point. I'm also looking out for a sell because price might travel all the way down to this support here. So you would also want to go in for an instant sell for USD CHF, having your take profit at 0.86206, right? Having your take profit at 0.86206. I'm going for an instant sell, looking at the candlestick formation around there, right? So going for instant sell at around here, then take my profit at 0.86206. Then, of course, have your stop loss. Have your stop loss after the resistance point. So my stop loss will be at 0.86516, 0.86516, 0.86516. So that my preference for USD CHF is also a sell, just in line with what we have on USD JPY. So let's look at a USD CAD also. For USD CAD, we have more of a mixed market. We have a ranging market on USD CAD. Price has actually been ranging from late hours of yesterday night up until this morning. So you could see price ranging between this point down to this point, right? So what the best way to actually trade a ranging market is to wait for a breakout, right? And when you're looking out for a breakout, the best thing is to use pending order to catch that breakout when it eventually happens, right? So of course, I'd be going in for USD CAD. It's expected that by the time the news comes out, if it comes out positive for the dollar, we should have a continuous push up in price. Already my stochastic is at my oversold region, right? Already my stochastic is at my oversold region, but like I said, the price might just actually be ranging technically. Might just be ranging throughout this morning. So looking at it, I really hate trading in between where price is ranging, right? I really hate trading in between a range because most times it's always a setup for it. It's always a trap. Most times it's always a trap. If you're going in for a trade, like if I'm coming down to a smaller time frame, a 15 minutes time frame, for example, you'd be tempted to say, okay, let's go in for a buy, looking at the fact that my stochastic is around this point here. Right, we might be tempted to say, let's go in for a buy, but is it really worth it? Let's see how many pip. Let's see how many pip. Okay, this is roughly around 15 points. Okay, that's roughly around 15, okay, 152 points. That's roughly around 15 pips rather. So if you're going to be risking it, right, my preference is actually going to be a buy on USD CAD, right? If you're going to be risking it, my preference will actually be a buy on USD CAD. So you'd want to buy if price breaks above this resistance point, right? So from this resistance down to this take profit point, let's see how many pip that will be. So from here down to here, this is still roughly around 11 pip. It's still worth taking, right? So this is on a 15 minutes time frame. We had to go to a 15 minutes time frame to get clear view of what is happening in between that range, because on a 1 hour time frame, the only thing you can see is a ranging market, right? On a 1 hour time frame, the only thing you can see is price ranging in between these points here. So we want to go down to a smaller time frame, most likely a 15 minutes time frame, to see what's happening in between that range and if there's opportunity for us to still take a trade. And as it is here, of course, there's still a little bit of an opportunity for us to take a trade. So I'd want to go in for a buy once price is able to break above this resistance point. So that will be at price level I'm going for a buy above my resistance point. So that will still make me to adjust my buy entry up a little because I wouldn't want to take my buy at the resistance. So that will cause me to take my buy entry at price level 1.35257. 1.35257. So I'll take off every other. Okay. So that'll cause me to take my entry at 1.35257. I take my buy entry at around there and then take my profits at top here. Have my take profit before the resistance point here at price level 1.35330. And yeah, have my take profit at 1.35330. So if you look closely at it now, let's see how many pips that will be. So this is roughly around 73 pips, 73 points. That's around 7 pips. So 7 pips on USD card is not so much. So yeah, and another this thing you have to do here is to also consider using a reasonable amount of lot size since we are on a small time frame, a 15 minutes time frame, right? Meaning that it's going to be a very short trade, and if you're actually going to make anything reasonable from it, you need to use a very good lot size on this trade. So alternatively, if you're going in for a sell, right? If you're going in for a sell, you'd want to go in for a sell below the support points, giving it clear. You give it a good distance from the support and going at price level 1.35105. 1.35105. I'm going for my sell at around that point, or you could decide to bring down your entry a little bit. But I think 1.35105 is a good entry. Then have my take profit before the next support. So the next support is at this Tonkoch resistance here. You have this resistance here serving as a support for price. So I want to bring my take profit above that point to ensure that price hits my take profit before hitting my support point. So my take profit to be at price level 1.34956. 1.34956. That would be where I would have my take profit. But my preference on USD card is actually a buy. My preference for USD card is actually a buy, but you buy on the condition that price is able to break above this current resistance here. That's hinging price, right? So that's for USD card. That's for USD card on an intraday level. So let's look at gold. Let's look at commodities before looking at indices. So we'll look at gold. For gold also, we also have more of a ranging market on gold. From the early, gold is of course a reactive instrument to the dollar. So for the fact that we have news coming out on the dollar today, you should expect that gold would actually range depending on when that news comes out, and that range might continue up until 230. That range might continue up until 230. So just like we did with our USD card, you can decide to go in to a smaller time frame to get good entries. So on a smaller time frame, you see that range more clearly. Price range for a very long time, and like I said, it will still continue in between. So for gold, there is even my RSI is neither at the overbought region, neither is it at the oversold region. It's just stagnant in the middle. So of course, would want to use a breakout strategy for this particular instrument. So taking our trade, if price is able to break above this range or below the range, right? So I'd want to go in for a buy if price breaks above this point, above this resistance point. So let's go back to a 1 hour time frame. So I also have my moving average serving as a resistance for price. So I'd want to go in for a good point to go in for a buy on gold to be at 2222.15. That's 2020. Yes, 2020.21. So that'll be a good point to enter my buy for US for gold. So 2222.21. That'll be a good entry for gold. And of course, have my take profit before the next resistance point here. So it's going to be at around price level 2022.69. 2022.69. So I want to be sure that if at all price is actually going to trigger my goal, my buy price, gold should have broken above this resistance and also above my 21 period moving average, picking up my trade and then going down to this take profit points. Then alternatively for my sell, if I thought I'm going to be considering a sell, I'd want to go in for a sell below this support point. right? I want to go in for a sell below the support point. So that will be below that support will be a price level 2012.71. So 2012.71 are going for a sell at around that point, and then have my take profits at 2010.88. Have my take profit at 2010.88. Right. So these are close entries, right? These are close entries because of the fundamentals we have coming out for the day. These are close entries because of the fundamentals we have coming out for the day, right? So let's look at oil. Let's look at oil. For oil, we also have this is oil on let's look at oil on the 1 hour time frame. So oil on the 1 hour time frame, price is actually at a resistance point. And we are actually going to be considering our stochastic here, because stochastic is already giving us clear indication that price has gotten to my overbought region. Right? Price has gotten to my overbought region. And from our overbought region, what I should be expecting from there is a sell-off, at least back to the back to the next support, or back to the previous support where price came from. So I'd want to go in for a clear sell if price is being rejected from here, right? So price is already at this point. I want to go in for a sell. Looking at my stochastic, I want to go in for a sell. You could do an instant sell on oil, take your profits down at the next support point here. So you could go in for an instant sell, take my profits at price level 79.82, take my profit at 79.82, going for an instant sell, have my take profit at 79.82, and then have my stop loss I'd have my stop loss at price level 80.66. Have my stop loss at 80.66. 80.66. Right. So that's my this thing for oil. Then for US 100, let's quickly look at US 100 and then US 2000 before calling it a close. For US 100, US 100 is also going to react based on the news coming out by 2:30. But for this morning, we are also going to expect that the market might actually move technically, depending on when that news comes out. And there's still room for a further buy on US 100. There's still room for a further buy on US 100. You can see that price has actually been rejected at this point earlier as of this morning, and that buy still have, if you check your stochastic here, so there's still room for price to still continue pushing up before we get a crossing around around your stochastic zone here, around the 80 stochastic level. So if at all you're going to be considering a buy, you have to also take note that there was actually a previous resistance around here. So going in for a buy will be at above that point at price level 17684.04. 17684.04. I'm going for a buy at around that point, then have my take profit before the next resistance here. So that will be at price level 177.679. Okay, 17767.98. 17767.98. So I'm going for my buy entry at price level 17684.04. 17684.04. Take my profit at price level 17767.98. Then alternatively for my sell, I want to go in for a sell. Let's change the style for this so that we get clear entries. Okay, so alternatively for my sell, I'd want to go in for a sell below the support point at price level. So I want to come down a little bit. So I'll go in for my sell at price level 17550.67. 17550.67. I'm going for my sell at around that point. Take my profit. Take my profit at price level 1748. 17483.51. 17483.51. I'll take my seller, my take profit at 17 483.51. Then US 2000. For US 2000, looking at it on a 1 hour time frame also. Okay, so looking at US 2000 on a 1 hour time frame, you see that US 2000 is currently at a resistance point here. So same thing will be in play here since we are expecting the market to actually move technically depending on when the news comes out, right? So I'd want to go in for because of how volatile US 2000 can be and how expensive it can be, I want to be sure that US 2000 is actually on a buy run or actually on a sell run before going in for my trade. So same thing here, I'd be going in from my buy if price breaks above this resistance point, right? If price breaks above this resistance point, going in for my buy at price level one, going in for my buy at price level 1984.9. 1984.9. I'm going in for my buy at 1984.9, right? Then take my profits, somewhere around here before the next resistance point at price level 1990.0. 1990.0, right? So this is US 2000. That's why I find that these are close entries. It should still make you quite a good amount of money because US 2000, even if you're taking US 2000 on 0.01, for example, that should be giving you roughly around 800 naira per pip movement. So if you're doing about a standard lot, that should be giving you roughly around 80,000 naira per pip movement. So it's still a very good trade. And of course, if you're going to be taking this trade, ensure you have good capital and use lot size that is proportional to your account. So alternatively for my sell, I'd go in for my sell below this support point. I'm going for myself below the support point at price level 1965.0, 1965.0. Take my profits at price level 1959.1. Take my profit at 1959.1. So that would be my entries for US 2000, and I think that should be the last instrument we have for the day. So someone is asking what's the total duration for gold on a daily time frame? Okay, let's look at gold on a daily time frame. So for gold on a daily time frame, you clearly see that price might actually has just been ranging. This is gold on a daily time frame. You see this amount of range. So most likely gold would actually react to the fundamentals that will come out today, right? And the better part of the week. We still have a couple of high impact news coming out on the USD for tomorrow, right? So I wouldn't advise you take a long-term trade on gold because you could see the chart formation, right? It's more like a flat chart, right? It's more like a flat chart. So I wouldn't advise you take a long-term trade on gold at this point in time. Even if you're looking at it from my volume indicator, my RSI, you could see this almost like a parallel line. It's neither going in one direction. So I wouldn't advise you take a long-term trade on gold. And if you're on a long-term trade on gold, it's either you try and close out that trade because in recent time the dollar has not really been very stable. It's weak 1 week, the next week is strong. So because of that, you have that range off on gold. So I wouldn't advise you take a long-term trade on gold at this particular point in time, right? So that's I think that's where we would call it a day, right? That's where we'll call it a day. So if you have any questions, just try as much as possible to attend most of the classes to get a better clarity on some of these indicators and how to use them, especially candlestick formation, because to a large extent, once you understand candlestick formation, you would be able to take good entries in markets, and lot sizing matters a lot, right? I see a whole lot of persons do good analysis and at the end of the day they end up messing it up with very little lot size, because I don't know why you would do a very good analysis and then use maybe 0.01 and be making maybe about 1,000 naira from the market. To me, it doesn't really make sense, right? It doesn't really make sense. So use good lot size, especially lot size proportional to your account, and ensure that you have a good account volume so that at the end of the day, when you're making profit, it will be worth your effort. It will be completely worth your effort. So till we meet again on the next edition of the Money Market Review, do have a wonderful and a peaceful day.